Welcome to PMP Exam Mindset. Today we're going into people. The seventh day. Henry Ford says obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. And today we're talking about addressing and removing impediments for the team. When you think about taking your eye off the goal, these impediments are the frightful things that could overwhelm you. And this is a job of the project manager, the scrum master, the leader, to tackle these impediments, to address these impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team. In Chapter 7 of our book, PMP Exam Immersion, we tackle this squarely from a predictive standpoint and an agile standpoint. You usually see the word impediment in agile, but it could also exist in a predictive context. When you're talking about removing impediments, obstacles, and blockers, an impediment is something that impedes, it slows you down. An obstacle is something that is in your way. You could go over it or around it. But a blocker, you are stopped dead in your tracks and you cannot move. Those are the worst. And your job is to address all three as a PMP. Agile practices involve proactive impediment removal. Agile teams often have a dedicated role like a scrum master focused on clearing obstacles and facilitating smooth progress. As usual, let's get into our true or false questions to warm you up before our main question of the day. Number 1, true or false? The scrum master's role in an agile project is to remove impediments for the team. The general answer to this is true. A core responsibility of the scrum master in agile, specifically scrum, is to identify and help remove impediments that hinder the team's progress. This can involve facilitating discussions, escalating issues, or directly resolving blockers. Number 2, in Agile, impediments should only be addressed during retrospectives. True or false? The answer? This is false. We should address impediments as soon as they are identified. There's a misnomer that impediments are left to the end, but no, we tackle them as they show up. Impediments should be addressed as soon as they are identified, while retrospectives are a time to reflect on recurring issues. Immediate blockers need immediate attention to maintain flow and avoid delays. Daily stand-ups are often used to surface these impediments. Number 3, impediments in a project can sometimes go unaddressed without any impact on the project's progress. Well, this generally is false. Why is it false? It's because when we talk about impediments, the general word is impede and impedance, remember? So unaddressed impediments, obstacles, or blockers will at some point, inevitably, whether we like it or not, impact a project's progress, leading to delays, increased cost, reduced quality, or decreased team morale. Proactive removal is essential for maintaining momentum. 4, addressing impediments is the sole responsibility of the project manager. True or false? The answer to this is, again, false. We do not leave it just to the project manager or scrum master. While they play a key role in addressing impediments, it is often a shared responsibility in the world of Agile. The team is encouraged to identify and, where possible, resolve blockers themselves, escalating when necessary. Final one, true or false? Agile teams are expected to self-organize to address and remove impediments. And the answer to this is true. In the world of Agile, we talk about teams being empowered and expected to self-organize, which includes actively identifying and working to remove their own impediments. The Scrum Master or Project Manager supports them in this effort, especially for blockers beyond the team's control. So there you have it. That is part 1 of our work for today. Let's take a look at our question for the day. In an Agile project, the Scrum Master observes a recurring pattern where the development team frequently gets blocked by external dependencies, for example, waiting for approvals from other departments, access to specific environments. These impediments are not being proactively resolved, leading to sprint delays. What is the Scrum Master's most effective action to address and remove these impediments? A. Instruct the team to document all impediments in a shared log that is visible and accessible to all stakeholders. Assign a dedicated team member or rotating role to track the status of each impediment, coordinate follow-up actions, and ensure that nothing falls through the cracks. Regularly review the log during retrospectives or planning sessions to identify patterns and opportunities for long-term improvement. Is it B? Escalate each individual impediment to senior management for immediate attention and resolution. Clearly communicate the impact of each blocker on sprint goals, delivery timelines, and team morale. Provide contextual data and recommend potential solutions to help leadership make informed decisions quickly and allocate necessary resources to remove the barriers effectively. Is it C? Proactively identify systemic impediments by analyzing recurring blockers, then collaborate with relevant external stakeholders and organizational leaders to remove root causes and streamline cross-functional processes? Or is it D? Increase the frequency and depth of daily stand-up meetings to ensure early identification of impediments and more frequent discussions of emerging blockers. Encourage open communication, active listening, and immediate peer-to-peer support to resolve issues quickly. I'll let you think about it for a few moments. All right, do hit the pause button if you need more time, but our time is up for this question. Taking a look at all the options, some options are better than others. Some options are just flat out wrong. Let's look at option D and go up. D states increase the frequency and depth of daily stand-up meetings to ensure early identification. Well, you don't have to elongate the meeting to identify these impediments. There's a reason why in the world of Scrum, 15 minutes is recommended. You are a Scrum Master, so this is obviously a Scrum environment. D is a no-no. We don't do that. Now, even though some of the stuff that it's talking about here is nice sounding, encourage open communication and so on, all that stuff is good, but what came before cannot be accepted, right? You can still get a decent meeting, identify the impediments, and then take them offline for those who it concerns. Everyone in the meeting may not be concerned with that particular impediment. So D will be cancelled. Let's take a look at C. Proactively identify systemic impediments by analyzing recurring blockers. So this means you're taking a look from a high level. That's what we mean by systemic. Those that occur regularly. We want to understand those, and then we want to hit the root cause of those impediments. That is not a bad idea. Let's take a look at B. Escalate each individual impediment. That is asking you to escalate each impediment to senior management. Then what is your function as a Scrum Master? So it's definitely not B. A. Instruct the team to document all impediments in a shared log that is visible and accessible to all stakeholders. There's really no need for all stakeholders to be in on all impediments. That right there is a red flag. And it says assign a dedicated team member. You don't assign team members in this world. They're not your servants. You are the Scrum Master and you're a servant leader. So you don't say, hey, Phil, you take a list of all the impediments. That wouldn't make sense. So we can cancel A, B, and D. And the best option, my friends, is option C. The rationale, the Scrum Master's role extends beyond merely identifying impediments. It's about actively removing them. For recurring systemic blockers, the most effective action is to proactively identify their root causes and then collaborate with external stakeholders and organizational leaders to remove these systemic issues, preventing future occurrences rather than just reactively managing them. Getting into the meat of task 7 in the content outline. Again, I've explained impediments impede, obstacles are in your way, but blockers stop you dead in your tracks. You gotta, first of all, determine the critical impediments, those that have stopped you dead in your tracks, those that have stopped other people from progressing. You want to make sure you identify those, be they blockers, be they obstacles. Determine those critical ones first, then prioritize them. In the world of Agile, it's not uncommon for Agile leaders to have impediment logs. Some teams have them. They're not as common in the world of Scrum, definitely not part of the Scrum guide, but people do keep these impediments to keep track of them. It's just common sense. So if you see that word on the exam, impediment log, don't let it take you by surprise. Number 3, use your network to implement solutions to remove impediments. You as a servant leader, one of your strong points should be building community and connecting people to other people who can help and knowing where to get help regarding these impediments, obstacles, and blockers. So use your network to remove those. And lastly, reassess continually to ensure impediments, obstacles, and blockers for the team are being addressed. This is the work of the Scrum Master, and also it should be the work of the project manager. Bear in mind that when we say impediments, an impediment is the result of something that was once a risk. So a risk is an impediment waiting to happen. If the PM does a good job of risk management, you have less of these impediments, which we also call issues in the world of traditional project management. And that's pretty much the mindset. Don't send team members to do stuff that is really your job, but at the same time, you want them to understand that if they can solve their own impediments or help each other's peer to peer do that, then they absolutely should. Okay? Don't forget, my friends, if you are looking for training and coaching for the PMP exam that is engaging, that takes you to that next level and beyond, even beyond the PMP exam itself, you need to be in my elite PMP training. Go to tinyurl.com/elite PMP. Again, tinyurl.com/elite PMP. This course will get you to ship shape for your exam and take you through a deeper understanding for not only the exam, but also your professional journey as a certified PMP. So when you are certified, you truly know all the ins and outs of this stuff. Thank you for joining me. I wish you all the very best as you prep for the exam. Remember that this is a journey of many days, and our goal is not volume. Our goal is actually to understand each task. So we're taking down each one of the 35. We've done quite well, and I believe we are on to roughly 20 right now. We've done a few from people. We've done majority of the ones in process, and we've done all of business. We are going to continue the journey, okay? So don't feel the journey's over. We're just getting into some really important stuff in people and in process. And hopefully within the next 30 days, we'll be done with this curriculum. So smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. One more thing before I go, my friends. I should make it clear, because the question that we encountered today, it was pretty aggressive, to be honest. There was a lot of verbiage in the question. I want to make it clear that even though the question had a lot of content, on the real exam, you're not going to have a whole lot of questions that are that long, but you do need to get used to answering long questions. Again, the reason why it was made significantly long was to sensitize you to the importance of getting quick as you read. Now, if you have accommodations on the exam, which means maybe you've approached PMI for medical conditions or mobility issues or ADHD or ADD and things like that, then you may be given additional time on the exam to complete it. But if not, under all those other circumstances, you are given just 1 minute 15 seconds roughly for each question. And that means you got to get through these large chunks of text in a short amount of time. Again, this is not the norm, but it behooves you to get used to tackling big wordy questions so that if you encounter those on the exam, you will be quick and get through conveniently. Also remember that your thinking processing, it changes when you are under pressure of the real exam because there's more at stake. There's the money, there's a 3 strikes and you're out. All of those things put added pressure on your psyche. So you really need to be practicing a lot of questions as you get ready for your exam. If you haven't got a good bank of questions, I also want to recommend pmpdoctor.com. Go to pmpdoctor.com and see the question bank that we have. We have for each task 6 or even more questions, and we have mock exams on top of that. So go to pmpdoctor.com, look into that. That might be your way of getting really good for this exam. Thank you once again. All the very best, and bye for now.